Please briefly tell us about yourself.
Sir, my name is Harathi. I'm coming from state of Telangana. I did my graduation in civil engineering, Btech in civil engineering from IIT Hyderabad in 2017. Since I've been preparing for Civil Services Exam, and I like to spend my time practicing yoga and experimenting with cooking, sir.
Wonderful. I have a request.
Yes, sir.
You can move your hands,
yes,
and it will add to your.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Brownie points. Carry on, Lavender.
Okay, I see that you've done one interview before in
yes,
the UPSC.
Sir. Yes, sir, I have.
How many marks did you get?
165.
165 is pretty good. Very nice. So what happened in the mains? 165 you should have been through.
Yes, sir. Earlier my optional was geography, sir. For 3 mains I couldn't score more than 235.
Okay.
So this year I changed my optional to anthropology.
And you're hoping to do better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Your father is SP in the state service,
yes,
Telangana?
Sir. In district called Narayanpet.
Okay. So tell me one thing. You must have seen that last year there was an encounter. Some people had gang raped a girl and there was an encounter with the police. So what is your opinion about police encounters? Do you think we should have encounters like this to make sure that people don't go and do these things again?
No, sir. I do not support encounters because they are against the rule of law. If we take this particular case, Disha case, so it was a horrible incident, no doubt, and the public outcry was also justified. But in my opinion, the answer was not encounter because had there been a proper investigation and a trial, many questions would have been answered as to what was the status of policing in the outskirts of the city, because it occurred in the outskirts, or why did the girl not call the police? Was she not aware of the helpline? So these aspects. And instead what happened was, after the encounter there was a lot of celebration in the city that they have been killed, and the discussion ended therefore. So I think there should be more focus on quick justice so that the demand for encounter doesn't arise and also the process happens as per the law.
So you think the only reason the encounter should not happen, from what I gather from your answer, is that you could have found out more about why that incident occurred. That's why the encounter shouldn't have been done.
So that is one of the reasons.
That's only one of the reasons.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
But what is the main reason?
Sir, it is illegal, sir.
It is illegal.
Yes.
You shouldn't do anything illegal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you're a civil engineer.
Yes, sir.
And you've seen that earthquake in Turkey. There have been a lot of photographs in the media about what went wrong there and all that. Obviously it was on a fault line, so there were bound to be, building collapses and all that. But there were major civil engineering faults in the buildings which have been shown very prominently in the media, and they've been marked out also. What do you think are those civil engineering faults?
Sir, it is true that it's not earthquakes which kill, it's the bad buildings that kill. But in this case, I did not go through what exactly the faults were.
Okay, you didn't go through. Okay, you've been to the student exchange, you've been to Japan.
Yes, sir.
Which city did you go to?
Tokyo, sir. I was living in Tokyo metropolitan area
for how long?
15 days, sir. It was a cultural exchange program.
It was a cultural exchange program. Okay, so what do you think is the main, thing about Japanese culture which have led them to rise from the ashes after World War II when they were bombed like that? What does your stay tell you, 15 days? What do you observe about their culture? What is their mainstay? Why have they become so, why they're so resilient, and why have they become bounced back like that?
Sir, I can think of 2 reasons. First is their work ethic. They're very hardworking people. So wherever we went, we kept hearing this word called Kaizen, which means continuous improvement, above excellence. It's also a reflection of their hardworking attitude. So this must have given them that resilience or motivation to keep working. And second, sir, they're very proud of their culture. For instance, everything there is in Japanese. They don't consider speaking in English as superior to Japanese. So this pride, love for their country, community and culture would have helped them rise back, sir.
Okay. What do you think about the status of women in Japanese culture? 15 days you must have realized something.
Yes. Sir, there are two things that I noticed. One, there is a lot more workforce, women in the workforce in most positions, and we have seen interacted with women head of the industries and women teachers in different roles. But at the same time, I've also noticed that women, even in Japan, it is considered that household duties are women's responsibility. So in that way, they are slightly similar to us, but also different.
Did you notice anything the way they thank, somebody thanks a male of a higher status and the way they thank a woman of any status,
No, sir,
So
I did not notice this particular thing. I did
How
not
do they
notice.
thank? What is the word they use for thanking somebody?
Sir, generally it's arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Yes, sir.
So, and when they thank a woman, they say dozo.
Oh, I did not notice that, sir.
Okay.
Miss Uma, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, you said your hobby is cooking,
Yes, sir.
and you have also written exploring why and how of Indian cuisine.
Yes, sir.
It's quite intriguing. What have you found? Just give us a couple of examples.
Yes, sir. Sir, I like to experiment with cooking, understand why certain things are done in a certain way. For instance, why spice powders or powdered spices are always added towards the end of the dish. On the other hand, whole spices are always added at the beginning. So the reason for this is how do we extract the flavor? In the powdered form, flavor can escape very easily. So we add them towards the end. The whole spices require a lot of work. Their flavor can be extracted into the oil in the beginning itself and continued. So these aspects, I also like to swap ingredients and see. For instance, now I'm working with biryani, how to make biryani with millets. So this kind of approach is what I like, sir.
You spoke about millet. Why are millets important in our present circumstances?
Sir, millets are good for people as well as planet, sir. They're highly nutritious, they're high in iron content, fiber. So they help in fighting malnutrition and also maintaining health. At the same time, they can be grown with very little resources. So that means the cost of cultivation is low, which will help our small and marginal farmers. At the same time, since they can be grown with little water and chemical fertilizers, they're good for the planet and soil as well. So as rightly called, sir, they are Siridhanyalu or Shri Anna, divine grains.
Something more? This year is the International Year of Millet.
Yes, sir. It is, sir. 2023 is declared as International Year of Millets.
On India's?
Yes, sir. On India's
recommendations to the UN. Tell me about G20.
Sir, G20 is a grouping of 19 nations and European Union. These are a mixture of developed and developing countries. The objective is mainly to ensure the financial and economic stability of the world. Currently, a meeting is going on with India's presidency, and so mainly, sir, G20 deals with the economic aspects of the world.
When did it start?
Sir, it started in 1998 after the Asian financial crisis, but it became an annual summit level event after 2008 financial crisis.
2008?
Yes, sir.
Right. Tell me, G20 logo, can you explain the G20 logo?
Sir, the logo features lotus. The petals of the lotus refer to the continents that we have, and it also has Mother Earth sitting on top of it. And I've also read that there are two diagrams on the earth figure which refers to Lord Saraswati and Lord Lakshmi, which means shared prosperity and shared wisdom. So this is India's, it's a reflection of what India believes in. Sir.
And what is the tagline?
Sir, the tagline is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and it means one earth, one family and one future.
What is the guideline that India is suggesting to the world for environmental protection through its G20 presidency?
Sir, India is putting forward several values and guidelines, sir. First, it is trying to highlight that we are all in together when it comes to climate change. Everybody is going to be affected, and hence Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Second, it is highlighting the importance of equity in our fight against climate change. So developed nations have historically contributed more, but today it is the developing countries and the poor nations which are facing the brunt of the impact. So India is demanding that the fight be fair, that we get technology and funds from the developed world so that we can adapt and mitigate climate change.
And also India is promoting the concept of individual level behavioral changes so that the environment is taken care of on a mass scale.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
definitely. India is talking about life mission. It is about bringing change at an individual level so that
Right.
we become more environmentally conscious so as to bring change at a higher level.
Okay, I'm just asking you this question as a general awareness thing. What is happening in Israel?
Sir, Israel currently is facing some protests because of the government's plan to bring some reforms in the judiciary, and these reforms are seen as affecting the independence of the judiciary and increasing executive's control on the judiciary. So many sections of the society have said this is not correct. It can destabilize the democracy itself.
What about France?
Sir, to my limited understanding, there are also ongoing protests in France. This is in relation to pension rules.
Okay,
Sir.
all right. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Uma, you call yourself Uma?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Uma. Okay. Uma, I was just reading that in your interests, member of NSS, teaching as well as content creation in vernacular language in the form of short videos.
Yes, ma'am.
What was this about? Aimed at government school, just government school children?
Ma'am, as a part of NSS, National Service Scheme, we conducted several activities. So one of the activities was Vidyadan, in which we went to local government schools, interacted with the children, helped them with their academics. So over time, we realized we need to give it a more framework to it. So we decided we'll see which are the areas that students were lagging behind, and we selected those topics and we created short videos on these topics in Telugu.
So,
And we played them.
Okay, let's say, can you give an example as to where did you find the gap and what did you actually create?
Yes. Ma'am, we discussed with the teachers as well as students, and whichever concepts, for example, one of the concepts that I worked on was Pythagoras theorem.
Okay.
So concepts, small concepts which could help the students.
Okay, so are these videos being used now? Are they on YouTube or something like that?
Ma'am, National Service Scheme has IIT Hyderabad has its own portal.
Okay.
So they are still being used on the portal.
Okay, they are being used on the portal. Very nice. Okay, you've heard of Jadui Pitara?
No, ma'am, I have not.
That's also something to do with education of very small children. It's part of the new education policy.
I'll read about it, ma'am.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on to something else. There's this huge digital divide, right? And is it there in small places of Telangana also?
Yes, ma'am. Certainly, it is.
Yeah.
And it is limiting the potential of these areas to a large extent.
Okay. So, what are your couple of suggestions, as to how we can go about it? And, for example, your lovely videos that you have created, someone, who doesn't have access to digital equipment may not be able to, take benefit of it. So, what are your suggestions for, let's say, 2 or 3 suggestions for someone in a remote area?
Ma'am, in this regard, I believe the government has to invest in providing the internet
But let's say, something in your own hand, that you can actually small changes, or small steps, not changes, small steps.
Ma'am, we have a strong force of NSS across the country through in the higher education institutions. By tying up schools in remote areas with the NSS, maybe we can. That's how we can bring some of the.
Let's say you're posted to a small place. You get into the civil services, and you're posted to a small place, and your brief is to ensure that these children come up to a certain level.
Yes.
What will you do? They don't have smartphones, they don't have laptops. What will you do? Put yourself there now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, we can have recorded videos.
Yeah.
And we can, most of the schools now have projectors and at least one computer lab. So we can utilize these existing resources and create high quality content, and these can be showed to children at regular intervals.
And if there are no schools are very far, 4-5 kilometers, then?
Ma'am, we can take help of the local TV channels and also
think about it.
Yes,
Community learning, you can,
Yes.
in a small way actually do something about it. Okay, you're a civil engineer. Now tell me, these people who've been facing issue of subsidence, right? What would your suggestion be as to what kind of, homes, houses they should be constructing so that, they don't feel the extent of the disaster that sometimes that can be mitigated actually?
Ma'am, the problem of subsidence is arising at a larger level, not at an individual home level. But at the same time, when we are constructing a home, we have to make sure the soil is stable, and we have to undertake some soil stabilization measures. So with the help of civil engineers, we can use geosynthetics to stabilize, or even something as simple as improving the forest tree cover in and around the colonies. These are some small things which can
and the kind of houses.
Sorry.
Sometimes earlier people were probably making, but now they are trying to make more concrete structures.
Ma'am, it is possible that we can use sustainable local materials such as wood in the construction and construct them at a higher level, rather than starting from the base.
Okay, think about it, because you're a civil engineer.
Yes.
And somebody is likely to pose, such a question to you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uma, you spoke about Pythagoras theorem. You did something on that.
Yes, sir.
What about Pythagorean tuning? Can you say something about that?
No, sir, I'm not aware of it.
The ratio of 3:2. Anything else Pythagoras was known for?
No, sir, I'm not aware of it. I'll read about it.
Read up, because
Yes.
you did something on Pythagoras, you know more about him.
Yes, sir.
Particularly about his work.
Yes.
How he died, everybody knows. You talked about G20 logo, Lakshmi and Saraswati. Your name is Uma.
Yes, sir.
The third one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Why, as per Indian mythology, Parvati used to die and take rebirth, whereas Shiva was eternal? So this question Parvati asked once to Shiva, that why that I have to take a rebirth, you don't have to.
Sir, it's indeed interesting, sir. I think I should read about
Heard
it.
about Amarnath?
I've heard about the place, sir, but
So you become immortal and that's the immortal story Shiva told to Parvati, correct? And there was a parrot's egg, dead egg was there, that parrot became alive, Sukhdev. Okay. You were an IIT engineer.
yes, sir.
Why you want to come to civil service? What is there in civil service?
Sir, it was my father who initially motivated me towards the civil services, and over time I found interest in the platform, sir. I want to work in an area where I get to work with people from very different backgrounds and diverse interests with the sense of collective vision and collective goals. I find this not only interesting but as a great avenue for self-growth. And civil services gives me that chance to do, while at the same time allowing me to do my part for the society. So I went ahead with the civil service.
Any idea about the job profile of a collector or a sub-collector?
Yes, sir.
What does a collector or sub-collector do?
Sir, mainly it is about managing the different departments and ensuring that whatever the developmental work, whatever the policy implementation has to happen is happening in a way it should be.
Only managing and development work, nothing else?
Sir, a district collector is also expected to provide leadership to the entire workforce.
Okay, coordination. But no substantial work he does on his own?
Sir, we have seen several district collectors take up projects and
Revenue work, land revenue.
Yes, sir.
Hyderabad duty magistracy, district magistrate and all?
No, sir.
So there are three main functions of a collector.
Okay, sir.
So if you're joining, thinking of civil service, you should know the job profile.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
So you said that encounters are illegal, meaning thereby we can't take anyone's life. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
If there's some condition under which somebody's life can be taken as per law?
Yes, sir. Certainly, in IPC as well as CRPC, we do have certain sections. So, a police officer in self-defense can open fire, or if somebody is resisting arrest and stopping the police officer from doing their lawful duty, then also the police officer can use fire.
No, using fire is different. Killing him, taking life.
So, the objective, I believe, there is not to take life. It is to...
Under what condition legally you can take somebody's life?
By a police officer, sir.
No, anyone.
Sir, if it is mentioned as death penalty in the law, then it has to be through the
executing a death penalty.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Self-defense.
So self-defense is
yes, you
for a
can take
police
if
officer.
she's going to kill you.
Yes.
To prevent your life.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me something about law relating to defamation in India? What is the law?
So defamation is both a criminal as well as a civil offense in the country. Sir, it is when there is an attack on somebody's reputation, then they can approach the court with a defamation suit.
Which court?
Sir, we can approach even the local court.
You know about the hierarchy of courts? No.
To some extent, sir, district courts, we have high courts and then the Supreme Court.
You go to the district judge for this?
Sir, I'm not sure, sir.
Please, read up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Uma, your name after?
Goddess Parvati.
Now, these days we are observing the Navratra.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with
Yes,
this
sir, yes.
Navratra? Today is the Ashtami, Durga Ashtami. Today, Goddess Parvati appears in the form of?
Sorry, sir, I'm not
Okay,
aware.
you don't know the Durga? No problem. What you should know from your interest in cuisine is that the food we eat during the Navratra, during this festival, is very different from the food we eat throughout the year. You know that?
Yes, sir.
Why? What according to you and your scientific mind could be the reason for eating a very different food? I can understand, do upvas, don't eat anything,
Yes, sir.
but why eat a very different kind of food?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, sir. I'll think about it.
Okay, essentially it would probably should have been to give the nutrition and micronutrients to the body which you don't get for the rest of the year.
Okay.
For example, butter chestnut, iodine,
Yes, sir. Right.
pre-tata namak. Okay, iodine people would not be eating through the year, so
Yes, sir.
hence you read about it.
Yes, sir.
Now you seem to be a food person.
I
So
am.
tell me, how did this sambar come through? What is the story? You're aware or not?
No, sir, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaja's son, is supposed to have started cooking his own dal and ended up with sambar. His name was Sambhaji.
Okay.
Anyway,
Very
figure it out.
interesting, sir.
Tell me one more thing. In the northeast, throughout the northeast, there is very little use of, they use butter and oils, etc. Sometimes coconut and so on. But there is minimal milk utilization, Northeast particularly.
Yes,
Have you
sir.
thought of it?
Yes, sir, I've noticed this, but I've not given it a conscious thought as to why that could be. But I could make an educated guess.
Please do.
Sir, it could be due to limited availability of cattle.
They have all sorts of cattle and they are constantly eating it.
I'm not sure, sir. Maybe it has something to do with how milk interacts with the body, and I'll read
They have a
about it.
concept. They are simple. They eat.
Okay.
If they drink the milk, then it becomes like a mother figure to them, and therefore that is the mentality which works. But then you evidently have not been to the Northeast.
Yes, I have.
Anyway, tell me, where did this term biryani come from? The word birinj.
So exactly how the word emerged, I am not sure, sir. But it is inspired from pulao or pilaf, which is very popular in Persia.
The word birinj means rice.
Okay, sir.
Comes from there. So how many kinds of biryani would you find in India?
Sir, there are several.
Apart from your version and my version, what are the established, say, 8, 9 kinds of biryani? Which ones can you name? Avadhi, Hyderabadi,
Kolkata biryani,
Kolkata.
Dindigal biryani, Ambur biryani, Talasiri biryani from Karnataka.
Talasiri, yes.
We have Zafrani biryani, which is found in the Kashmir and even in Delhi region.
Kashmiri pulao, it's not really a biryani, but yes, okay, I'll give you that. And Bohri.
Bohri I have not heard.
Bohri you have not heard. Anyway, next time you. Last question. What is the difference between malnutrition and hunger?
Sir, hunger we understand in terms of deficiency in calorie intake, which is if a person is not taking in minimum
Right. And
calories.
malnutrition?
Malnutrition is a more broader word, sir. It also includes micronutrient deficiency. It can also include problems like obesity, which comes from having excess of calories.
Excellent. That's what I wanted.
Yes.
That is the answer. Anyway, bringing us to the close of this interview. Now you give your feedback how you have done.
So I think I could have done better, sir.
How?
I think I should work a bit more on my hobby, which is cooking. Things like where did the term biryani emerge from?
Oh. What you don't know by way of trivia, you don't know matter ends. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Please understand, a lot of this discussion is about putting you on comfort levels so that you can debate or discuss. If you don't know something, say, I don't know, and we'll move on to the next question.
Yes.
It's not at all a negative thing. Okay?
Yes.
What is negative is if you don't know something and you are wasting everyone's time about
Yes.
it. Okay? Might as well move on. Very good thing when you said, may I make an educated guess? I don't know this, may I make a guess? Excellent. A very good interview. You are not looking at others enough. Okay? And you are not gesticulating as you could be. You should.
Okay, sir.
Okay? I would encourage you to do so. There is one thing which I noticed. You are giving excellent answers, no doubt, but then the answers tend to be lengthy precisely because you maybe know a lot about it.
Okay.
So maybe you can speak for 5 minutes. We don't want 5 minutes. We want the best part of the answer coming in the first 10-20 seconds.
Okay, sir.
So advised, how do you know if it's a random question, you will have to compose your thoughts, no?
Yes.
Which part to give first.
Yes, sir.
So please take a pause, think out which is the meat of the answer and come out with that first.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes,
It's
sir.
easy to write a 5-page essay, very difficult to write 100 words.
Definitely.
That is the point.
Yes.
Okay? Otherwise, excellent. Carry on.
Because you have taken another interview in the past, if you were how many marks did you get for the interview?
165, sir.
So if you judge yourself, today's interview, this interview is less than 165 or more than 165?
Sir, I think it's more than 165, sir.
Okay. I am quite happy with your general demeanor. You are very positive in your outlook. You are very forthcoming with your answers. So I would only, when is your interview? You said
April
18th? 12th. So it's you still have about 12-13 days.
Yes, sir.
Brush up on your normal surrounding things, based on your hobby, something which is happening around the world, around your society. I think you will do very well.
Yes.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir.
Very good personality and nice smile. Good, you're actually connecting well with the board and the panelists. And you're regarding, answering the question, just be a little more crisp. Don't give that one line background to an answer. All right.
Yeah.
Answer like you would answer amongst, let's say your parent is asking you. So you won't say ki, this is a good process. However, this is good. You don't have to say this is a good process. Okay, you have to take it out.
Yes.
And just come to the,
Crux of
the Chairman said, come to the crux. So when you see a recording of your interview, you'll find that, you've been giving little background. So your answer, instead of becoming,
Crisp.
say 1 minute, it's going to 1 minute 20 seconds, like that. So try to cut out that bit. And that will come. When is your interview?
April 12th.
April 12th. Just practice a little bit. You'll know.
Yes.
You're such an intelligent girl. You will be able to, cut out that bit.
Yes.
Because either it was your way of processing the answer. So you start with a very general statement and then you come to the main. But it would be better if you, kind of hit the point straight.
Yes.
No background. Just straight to the point.
Yes.
Okay, crisp and...
Well, you did well. We didn't ask you many current affairs questions.
Yes.
But in an interview, that will be 2 to 3 questions. Find time to know about the current affairs, particularly things of importance which is achieved, which has happened in last 1 year, 1 month or so. Night before the interview, you must go through the news and all. But it's not the headline that matter. Like when I asked about the defamation law, I didn't ask about what happened to Rahul Gandhi or something.
Yes.
I was more interested in the court procedures, different types of court. So going a little into the news.
Okay, sir.
So do that, you will do very well. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Just focus on the question,
Yes, sir.
right? And think and reply. That's about it. Excellent. Carry on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
All the best.
No, that will be given.
Thank you, sir.